Something just happened. Let's see what channel. There it is. It's live. Huh? All right, we got it fixed. We got it fixed. So we're able to up and run it on YouTube. Just a little technical stuff that we had. So waiting for my co-host to get on, and we'll definitely get started here. All right. We got it fixed. We got it fixed. Hmm? Yeah. We will get started here shortly. Wait till my co-host get on, and we're gonna jump on this thing. I'm super excited. Let's rock and roll. Oh. Go to YouTube. Go to YouTube. Go to Facebook and YouTube. Go to the Burning Coals podcast on YouTube and Facebook. Subscribe to both channels as well, so that way you won't be able to miss nothing that we're talking about on the Burning Coals podcast platform here. We thank you for joining us. Give us just a minute. I'm waiting for my co-host to show up, for him to accept the invite, and we'll be able to get started with the show. Give us a minute. Anyway, how y'all guys doing on this beautiful, beautiful Monday? Hope you guys ain't getting to know. Make sure if if you're hanging out with your family and friends and doing your family thing, make sure you stay vigilant out there. Make sure you continue to watch your surroundings, because we living in some difficult times right now. So make sure you guys do that. Enjoy yourselves. Drink responsibly as well. We do all those things. And yeah, so we definitely make it back home safe with our loved ones. All right. I'm ready to start the show. Give me just a minute. But if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you go and subscribe to the Burning Coals podcast show. Again, I'm gonna say it all the time. I'm gonna say it again. Make sure you go subscribe to the Burning Coals podcast show. Go to YouTube. Go to Facebook. Go to Instagram. We're on Twitter and Twitch as well. Make sure you do that. And also, if you on YouTube, make sure you can put your comments below, and we'll definitely read your comments as well. We'll definitely do that. I got people while I'm trying to get everything started. I have people reaching out and trying to call and send messages and things like that. Like, I'm in the middle of a show. I can't just walk away from the show to take your phone call. It doesn't work like that. So please, if anybody want to get in contact with me, wait till the show's over with. Send your text messages and things like that, or call, and I'll definitely get in contact with you ASAP. So please, just do that. Where's my co-host at? Let's go. Wait for my co-host to get here. Hey, look, listen. I'll just wait for my co-host to get here so that we can get started with the show. So, you know how we do, family. Look, y'all family now, okay? Y'all are family, all right? You know how we do. We kind of do it on our time. So that's just how it is. I want to start at 8 o'clock, but it didn't work like that. But go to the Burning Coals podcast on YouTube, so that way you can definitely see my co-host. Him and I will definitely be talking back and forth on the YouTube platform, the Burning Coals podcast. Also, we'll be on Facebook as well, on the Burning Coals podcast, live and stream on there as well. So now, if you stay on my app, if you stay on my on Deatrix on my Facebook account, then you're just going to be able to see me, but you won't be able to hear the whole conversation, what's going on. So that's the reason why I directed you to go to YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe to the Brandon Coles podcast. So that'd be lovely if you go. You can help us out in that area and subscribe and uh, watch it there. We gonna come with some pretty good information here today. Sorry, you guys, for for the short delay, but yeah, my co-host just sent me a text message saying he's gonna be on here shortly. So give me a minute. You can start up the show. Oh. Trying to hold down the fort here. Thank you for joining on Instagram as well, you all. Appreciate that so much. Appreciate the love you sending us on Instagram. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's all love. Appreciate that so much. Appreciate the love on Facebook as well. Thank you so much. They're my co-host. There he is. What's going on with it? You ready to get this thing rolling?
Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. Hold on. Corsicana, Texas. Corsicana, we in the house. Dallas Fort Worth, what's up with it? Thank you for thank you. Thank you for joining this very first episode of the Burning Coals podcast. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. Hit that notification bell if you want to know all the content. And also be able to share with your friends, your family, and also your foes as well. Let them know where to go for some of the best and the hottest content that we have on this social media platform. But anyway, I am your host, the Mr. Know-It-All, Xavier, along with my co-host. I call him Gntlmn Jmal, but today he's gonna go by today he's gonna go by Tobin Frost today. Mr. Tobin Frost, how are you, my friend? Do some clapping here. Yeah, hit the clapping.
Yeah. Bring the sound effects in.
It's for some reason my sound effects ain't working over here, my friend. So what's going on?
We build it as we fly.
That's right. So tell me what's going on with you, Mr. Frost. How are you today, brother?
And life is good. Life
Okay.
is good. Another day above ground, Another day to chop up some good game. Let's do it.
Right. That's right. Absolutely, I agree with that 1,000%. And for me, you know what, man? I'm holding, I'm maintaining, man. I'm doing pretty good myself. Can't complain at all. But I'm gonna tell you this. So people want to know the name, how I came up with the name for the show. So I gotta explain it to you. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little twist to it. All right, Mr. Frost, I'm gonna do that today. Okay. So, all right. So how I came up with the name of the Burning Coals podcast. Okay. And it's I would say that it's a reflection of my life as well. But there's a biblical version. There's a biblical verse, biblical scripture, Romans chapter 12, verse 20. All right, and what it says is, if a man is thirsty, give him water, and if a man is hungry, give him something to eat. When you do this, this will heap a bag of burning coals on his head. So basically, what I got from that, the part from the burning coals part, I got that from that particular scripture, meaning that just because somebody do something evil or something that's not right or something wrong or against you, and you treat them with kindness, you kill them with kindness. So when I thought about that, I thought about different things that's transpired in my life, especially with putting this podcast together, where I've had some enemies try to attack me while in the middle of actually building this whole podcast platform up. And I'm talking about, it's anywhere from family to friends and XYZ. But at the same time, I learned to say, you know what? Even though you try to stop what God has for me, you know what? I'm not going to entertain none of that. And you know what? I still love him. I still love him. I'm gonna love him with all my heart, all my soul, and I'm just gonna continue to make sure that I give him nothing but positive energy coming from my way. You know what I mean? And it's nothing, no harm, no foul, no nothing like that towards anybody that tries to attack me, whatnot. But I just try to, I just kill them with kindness. That's what I do, and that's what I've been doing. So I named the show the Burning Coals Podcast on that precept alone by itself. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Concept,
Yeah,
think,
yeah. You there?
I like that. I like it.
Right. Absolutely. So, but yeah, so that's the reason why I named the show that. So we're gonna move along, man. We what we're gonna talk about today
Let's get into it.
is let's do this. All right. So hold on.
Hold on. Who's on first? You got to shout out to somebody. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. We got on Facebook. We got Miss Pam Brown watching on Facebook. James Jackson watching on Facebook. Emma Green is watching on Facebook. On Instagram, we got Enso watching on Facebook. Moneyball Podcast watching on Facebook. On Instagram. Marcus Smith is watching on Instagram. YouTube, Monique Smith is watching on YouTube. My mother is watching on YouTube.
Hey,
Barbara Sims. Hey, what's going on, Mama? Yeah. She's watching, and that's pretty much it. That's who I would have that's on the platform right now.
All right.
I'm sure more will probably pull in, once we get started here.
They'll catch you later.
Yeah, most definitely. So our topic for today, we're going to be talking about the 4th of July. What are we teaching?
Oh,
If you don't know something, if you don't know, whatever you don't know can hurt you. That's how I look at it. What do you think about that, Mr. Frost?
I agree. I mean, knowledge is power. So lack of it is the opposite of power. So
Right, absolutely. So we're gonna talk about it.
yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Ooh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I wanna talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Shout out to
So
Carl
to-
Thomas.
You say it again?
I said shout out to Carl Thomas.
Shout out to Carl Thomas. That's right.
We're back.
So today is the 4th of July, and a lot of Americans nationwide,
Big holiday.
big holiday. Everybody is celebrating, popping fireworks, and barbecuing. Yeah, everybody's barbecuing. Just having a good old time. Hanging out with the family and friends and things like that.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to say is if you're out there with your family and friends, make sure you definitely be careful and be safe out there because we definitely have a lot that's going on. Be vigilant and
Yeah.
make sure that you be able to go home with your family and, make sure you're able to come home safely. So enjoy yourself, but be safe out there because, like I said, there's a lot going on.
A whole lot going on. Drive safely. Don't enjoy responsibly. Be vigilant. There's a lot of stuff going on. So
Right,
enjoy yourself. Whatever you're doing, be safe. Be careful. Enjoy yourself.
right, absolutely, absolutely. I agree with that 1,000%. Um, so what I was saying was, with the holidays that's happening right now, everybody is out and about, having a good time, but um, we don't actually know or if you do know, then you're just not talking about exactly what's going on with the holidays itself as far as like what Fourth of July is really representing, what it really means. But I tell you what I did, Frost. I spoke with some high school students, right?
Right.
And I asked them. I said, when you think about Fourth of July, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about Fourth of July? And the
Fireworks.
right, and the answers and the response that I got back from that was exactly what you said. They think about fireworks, they think about food and everything like that, family fun, but but only a very small few said anything about the Declaration of Independence,
Right.
and
Right.
that's what we're going to talk about today about the Declaration of Independence and what exactly does that mean. And we're going to talk about some different main ideas and different points of the Declaration of Independence and try to go over that just for a bit. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm with it. A lot of holidays have morphed into just the celebration part of it. A lot of people don't know what especially as time goes on and advance of technology, social media, like you said, people, especially the younger generation, they just know pop fireworks, barbecue, hang out, do whatever. So, let's educate the people.
Right, and we very well need to be educated on it because when I talk with those students and get the feedback that I got from them, it was heartbreaking, but it's something that, like you said, it starts from our parents and their parents, and it's something that's being taught to us, and we 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 carry on everything that was taught to us. So we got to unlearn some stuff that we've been taught, because we have been taught a lot of stuff, uh, you know, incorrectly, and we've been given some some bad information there. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So what we're going to talk about is the Declaration of Independence, and
Well,
uh,
start there. Start at the beginning. What it is it about? What
yeah,
happened?
that's where I'm going. That's what I'm getting ready to go to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what So here's what the Declaration of Independence is about. Okay.
Okay.
On today's date, July the 4th, the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed by Thomas Jefferson. It was a few people that signed the Declaration of Independence. But what happened was, they wanted to declare, the 13 colonies wanted to declare themselves independent from Great Britain. So
Right.
on July the 2nd, they met in Philadelphia, all right, and they talked about it, but then they made up because they were talking about it, whatever, but they also made up the language inside the Declaration of Independence, and they signed the Declaration of Independence on July the 4th of 1776.
Okay.
So when I started reading and doing my research about everything that transpired, I looked at the Declaration of Independence, word by word, do the language, and want to understand what the language is all about.
Right.
And it was very fascinating. I was very fascinated and blown away because here it is that our government who this land is not theirs at all. They stole the land. Okay, how can you steal or how can you take the land from somebody and then turn around and say, hey, we want to come up with these rules and regs and these declarations, this contract
Right.
outlining it, saying, okay, we want to declare our independence for something that you never had or owned in the beginning anyway. So, I when I read it and I saw these lines that we're going to hit, these bullet points we're going to hit, I was blown away by it, Frost. I was. It made me very, very what's the word I'm looking for? I was concerned, man, very concerned and heartbroken with the outlining of the Declaration of Independence itself, because we got slaves. Slavery was going on during this time, and
Absolutely.
we got slavery going on during this time, and for them to do this and put this stuff in in writing here and sign this contract, like, man, they didn't even look at us, black people, Hispanics, Native Americans as a as a human being at all.
Right.
Your thoughts?
For sure. For sure. I'm gonna use a quote, right, from a professor from Cordell. His name is Derek Spires. He did a piece about last year about it, and it was very interesting. Something that he said about the Declaration of Independence and the relationship that Black Americans have with this holiday, because like you said, we were we wasn't free, right? So basically says because of the it's a complicated relationship, yeah. So I know everybody wants to kind of kick back, and I think a lot of it will come out as hey, we just want to celebrate this day, and sometimes it's good to celebrate, but at the same time we must recognize and acknowledge that at that time we wasn't free. Like you said, we weren't even considered human beings. I think it was like 3/5 of human beings. We was considered property.
Correct.
So we have a different relationship with this holiday. But anyway, I'm going to the quote. And the article states, in quote, Black people in the early years of the United States had a complicated relationship to the 4th of July holiday. And I quote this, it's a national doublespeak in which white Americans celebrated their freedom of political expression while supporting the enslavement of Black people, unquote, right? So while America was celebrating its independence from Britain, Black people who were here, that wasn't championed. So it was freedom this side, but it was still, y'all are still not free. So this is not, to me, okay, it's a day to celebrate the independence from Great Britain, but it's not a day of freedom. Freedom from some, sure, of course. So some people will celebrate it. Some may not find, it's not a lot to celebrate for others. Like you said, whether you're Black or Native American, some people take an issue with the holiday, rightfully so.
Right.
So, I mean, again, if you're just looking for, we love reason to celebrate. And then times like this, sometimes that's all you want to do, right? Kind of an escape from the problems that go on day to day, I don't know. But we must acknowledge that Black people were not free.
Right.
So,
Right. Absolutely. We were not free at all.
right.
And, sometimes you said something when you talked about we looking for a reason to celebrate. We, different holidays. And be honest with you, Frost man, sometimes we celebrate we celebrate a lot of failure. You know what I mean? Things that's not going to, we're not going to benefit, or we're not going to, it's not going to be beneficial to us at all. We
Right.
celebrate we celebrate a lot of things that we shouldn't celebrate at all. And it's frustrating, and at the same time it's heartbreaking because of the different type of, the different shape and condition that we in right now, And yeah, so I definitely agree with that 1,000%. Here's the bullet point number 1 that I want to talk about with this Declaration of Independence and what I have an issue with. And we can go more into detail about it as well.
All
It
right.
says people have certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. When you, it's it. I found to me out of all uh, the language inside the Declaration of Independence, that was number two to me that I thought was funny. The first one was all men are created equal. I
Right.
laughed at that. Yeah, I laughed at that part. But the people have certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It seems like to me, who is happy when we trying to pursue something? It seems like every time we try to pursue something, or you want something, or you go after something, because when you're pursuing something, it means you're going after it.
Right.
Well, how fair is it if I'm pursuing something, if it's pursuing something financially, if it's pursuing something that's, that's going to be beneficial to me or my people, whatnot? Why is it that why do they continue to move the goalposts? Okay, if the goalpost is at the 50-yard line, and I make it to the 50 and I cross over it, you know, I should be able to make sure I should be able to you know get rewarded for that. But you tell me the goalpost at the 50-yard line, then you move it to the 60, and then you just keep moving it. I
Right.
believe that's just unfair, man.
Well,
It's
look
very
at the word
unfair.
you use. It's like people. Word, the ultimate word was people, and there were black people were not even considered people during this time.
Right,
Right? We were
right,
considered property. All right, almost as cattle. So the pursuit of happiness, happiness is subjective, right? Because what may be happiness for one person may not be happiness for another, right? I can imagine a lot of people, a lot of groups were not happy. I can imagine the Native Americans weren't happy. I can imagine the British wasn't happy. Black people certainly were not happy. Uh, so someone pursuing happiness is that's subjective, all right? The happiness at the cost of who? At the suffrage of who? At the detriment of who? Right? So the pursuit of happiness, you know, some things are universal. Happy, universally, we all want to be able to live and enjoy life and raise our families and do all
right,
sorts of things that are universal. But you must put it in context historically. And when you do that, happiness is very much subjective. And again, I don't. At this time, we were not even considered people. So, people pursuing happiness that had nothing to do with us because we weren't even considered people. You can forget pursuing any form of what we felt was happiness, so that had nothing to do with us at that time.
right. Yeah, I definitely understand that. I agree with that 1,000% as well. Uh, but it's just from my experience and just from just seeing that type of language written inside this declaration.
Yeah, the problem with
Uh,
it.
Man, a lot of stuff inside of it. Like if you do a contract and you don't honor that contract, man, that contract is null and void. You got to rip that thing up, remix it, and do something else with it. Shoot, because this ain't working, trailer. I mean, Frost, this ain't working, brother. This ain't working at all.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta rip that thing up and do a remix version of it. So we gotta get away from this Beethoven style and maybe get R. Kelly or somebody to do a remix for us, remix version of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, let him because he the king of the remixes, brother. So he can just put that thing together and we can get somebody to write the words to it and yeah,
I
do
don't know
something
if I
better because
want
this ain't
Kelly.
it.
I don't know if I want R. Kelly doing it, but I get your point.
But he's the king. He's the king of remixes, though, right?
He is. He is.
Yeah, right. So that's why I said, just to get him to do it because hey, he's a remix king, man. He can write some words to that thing, and man, the Declaration of Independence be totally different now.
Right.
Uh, the second part is all men are created equal. Now,
Mm.
everybody that own this, that you know, done when it comes to us, we know for a fact that right there is outdated, way outdated, because all men are not created equal. It's just, it's not at all.
But are we?
Are we? Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Are we?
Yeah, are created equal. We didn't say treated equal.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Created.
That's where you're going with it.
Yeah, created equally. You know, that's at the inception, right? So
Mm-hmm.
at birth, are we created equal? I would have to say probably so, right? I think what happens after that is what affects us, right? We're not treated equally. We're not viewed equally. But again, when this was written, you got to think all men. We were not considered men. We're still talking about cattle, talking about property, 3/5, all these other things that you want to bring up. But in just the context of the wording, yeah, we created equally, right?
Right.
Born, you know, if you're born, you know, healthy, normal, whatever, you created pretty much equal. It's everything that happens after that, you know, that kind of affects you more so than that. I mean, even if you do the nature versus nurture argument, some things you are, people will say that, or in you genetically, sure. Whether it's born or how your environment shifts you. But for the most part, created equally, sure. But we were not treated equally. And again, we were not even considered men or women when that was written. We were considered property. So
Right. So let me ask you this. So do you think when they put the language, the wording created equal, do you think they were looking, they were looking far ahead to say, you know what, maybe one day these men, these black men, maybe one day that we will, feel some kind of way, or our hearts will be soft to actually treat them like men. Do you think that somebody maybe someone that was there writing that, like intentionally put created in there because they kind of foresaw that happening, that we gonna be, that we actually all are created equally?
I personally don't believe that. Again, they weren't thinking about us at that time at all. I don't think they were thinking in their mind, well, you got to think this was 1776.
Right.
Yes, even technically or legally, the slaves wasn't free to 1865.
Right.
I don't think when this was written in 1776, they were thinking all these years ahead to think, well, these people who we consider property and slaves or whatever will one day be included in this all men are created equal thing. So I personally believe that it was, because I mean, obviously, if that was the case, they could have just freed us and created us equal and made it and level set us right then in 1776. So, like again, it technically we wasn't legally freed or whatever until 1865. So I do not believe personally that when that was written that they were thinking that far ahead and thinking about us, 100 some years down the road. So no, I don't.
Right. right. Yeah. Or maybe they just.
I could be wrong. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't believe so.
You know what, man? If I had to bet something on it, I would say no. They did not have our, looking out for us, the best intent for us, our best interest. No, I don't agree with that at all. Nope. They wanted you, like you said, they wanted you to make sure that they, made you feel like you wasn't even a whole man. You just 3/5 of a man. They look at you just like cattle and property and so on and so forth. And that's what it was. Period. So I agree with that 1,000%.
Yeah.
So I agree with that a whole lot.
Yeah. You got any from the viewers? Anything?
Let's see what they say. We'll read the comments here. That's no comments on Instagram right now.
Cool.
We got on the Facebook side, we got Jonte, Maurice Manning. What's up? What he says, free R. Kelly. He said, what's going on, fam?
Hey, that reminds me of the Boondocks episode. It's an episode of Boondocks. It's called Free R. Kelly. So check it out.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I never watched the Boondocks at all. Never watched the show.
Man,
I just seen it. I ain't gonna say I just seen just a little bit of it, but not never watch it all the way through.
Yeah.
YouTube, Dre is watching. He said, "What up, family?"
What up, Drew?
Melanin model. He said, "I'm on the road. This is nice. I appreciate that." Uh, my mom said, "What's up, Frost? Good seeing you."
Hey, mom.
And
Hey,
she said,
mom.
"Good point." Yeah, she liked your points that you made.
Thank you.
And Miss Pam Brown said, "Good content." So yeah, we rocking and rolling here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Go on. What's the third one?
The third one. Let's go. It says individuals have a civic duty to defend these rights for themselves and others. Individuals have a civic duty to defend these rights for themselves and others. I thought that was outdated as well because uh, it's if you try to what about okay,
Yeah.
we're talking about gun laws, okay? What about gun laws? All right. So down south, gun laws, everybody got guns down south. You defend yourself because we all got guns down here. But
Sure.
when I was living in Boston and New York, they are very, very strict with guns there. I mean, you have to give up you have to do all kind of, you got to jump through a lot of hoops to own a weapon um, over there in the East Coast.
Right.
So, but it says when you're talking about the civic duty to defend these rights for themselves and others, it seems as if the government, they want they want us to be able to depend on them for every and anything. Even when it comes to defending yourself, self defense, they want us to rely squarely all the way on them. And and I just think that that is that's a recipe for disaster when it comes to that. It's a recipe for disaster. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think what the and again, it's always going to be different schools of thought when it comes to firearms, because also in the Constitution was the Second Amendment, the right to whatever
Bear arms. That's right.
arms or a world militia or something about that. Like, so the Constitution gives the citizens the right to own firearms. Now, every state individually treats it and adapts it or interprets it differently. But the actual right to bear arms, an individual's right, you can have a firearm, legally, whatever, barring
Correct.
exceptions that exist, convicted felons or whatever each individual laws state. I think at that time they didn't want you, this was my interpretation, because you have a right to defend yourself. You can't always depend and wait for a government agency to do it for you because it may be too late. So, exercise your rights to do so, to defend yourself, to bear arms if you can do so legally, responsibly, of course. Does everybody need to bear a firearm? Obviously not. But you have a right to do it according to the Constitution. Now we talk about individuals. Again, some people think the Constitution it never changed. I forget the terminology, but some believe it is a living, breathing document, and it evolves over time. So, again, it's just your interpretation of what does that mean. I'm saying that if you want to own the firearm, you should do so legally and responsibly. Do so. The Constitution gives you the right to do it, so you should do it. And again, like you said, I don't think that anyone should depend on the government to be your only source of safety. Because who knows? You ever try to get any kind of police assistance? It may take some time to get there. So you have a right to defend yourself, defend your property, your family, of course. You have that that's just your right. I mean, even in nature, animals defend themselves from predators, right?
Right.
No different from us, and same things that some people think the country doesn't do right when it comes to guns. You know, I don't know. That's a story for another show, because some countries who don't, uh, the laws are not so lenient. You know, maybe their gun law, the crime, the gun offenses are not as high. But that can be state to state. You talk about New York, Chicago, they have some of the toughest gun laws in the country. But they also have some of the higher gun offenses in the country as well. So
Right.
one thing about it, criminals do not care about laws. That's why they're criminals. So you can put all the laws you want. You can say nobody can have a gun, period. But the Constitution says you have a right to own a firearm, and I believe you should do so if you can do so legally, sure.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. While we're talking about firearms and and gun control, uh, was it how long ago was that Uvalde shooting? Was it about 2 3 weeks ago?
I think it's been a little longer than that.
Well, it seemed like it's about we'll say a month, give or take. All right.
Yeah, about a month and a half, I guess.
Okay. I saw on the news. I believe it was 2 or 3 days ago. One of the students' relative, I think it was a sister or a cousin, was there. Went to, I believe it's Washington, where she went in front of the congressman and spoke about the incident that transpired in Uvalde. All right,
Right?
and basically what they're trying, what her agenda, what she was wanting to do, was let them know, hey, look, we got to do something about these guns, and we got to get this under control and whatnot, because anybody, it seems like anybody can go and don't matter what type of mental state that you have, anybody go and purchase a weapon, and a lot of these people that's selling these guns, and I'm gonna say something before I let you talk.
Yeah.
A lot of these people that's selling these guns, they're not, if you come up there with the cash money, the transaction is made. There was a video, I saw it on YouTube about a month ago, right before right after the Uvalde shooting.
Right.
This kid looked like he was every bit of 16, 17 years old. He's a white kid. I'm giving some age to this kid, but he looks very young.
Right.
He goes inside of a gun show
Right.
and he walks in with cash money.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the merchant and he is shopping, and said, "Hey, I want this rifle."
Right.
So the merchant, he pulls the gun up, give the guy the gun,
Right.
and the kid was like, "Yeah, this is the gun I want." So the money transaction was made. There was no questions asked,
Right.
and that kid was able to walk out of that store with that firearm, no questions asked at all. And
Right.
he was a white Caucasian male, but had that have been one of us, we wouldn't have made it through the front gate with that, and we wouldn't have. It just wouldn't have happened.
Oh. Wow.
You didn't see that?
The thing about firearms, and I won't, I won't argue. I'm not going to argue gun control. The thing about firearms, and 18, you can buy a rifle, 21 for a handgun, and I think that's the way it works. And we talk about mental states, right? I mean, how do you know if a person has no, especially at 18, most people don't have this extensive medical background or criminal background to, if you go into a store and purchase a firearm legally, it's not like they sit there and have a psychiatrist, a psychologist sitting there diagnosing you and saying whether you're of a mental state to do so or not,
Right.
So I don't know how you really regulate that unless you have a known history of, then that's totally different. But I mean, if you're of legal age and again meet all of the legal requirements, then the law is the law. Fortunately or fortunately, depending on where you stand on it. If you go in there and purchase a firearm, You meet all the requirements, you got the cash, and that's just the way it works. Obviously, anything can happen after you purchase it. Um, but do you meet the legal requirements when you at the point of sale?
Right.
That's and again, racism exists. It's just not denied. We're not going to pretend like it doesn't.
Right.
And maybe a black guy wouldn't be able to go in there and do the same thing. Maybe I don't know. I don't know all the circumstances. Things. And teach his own. I've never had an issue. That I perceive purchasing a firearm. That doesn't mean that's not the next person's story. So I'm not going to negate it. But gun control or not, again, as I stated in the last point, if you have a criminal intent or you mean harm, the laws don't matter anyway. You can get a firearm by other means, than going in there and signing documents and getting it. So again, I'm not talking about gun control in itself. Again, I believe that you have a right to defend yourself, and if you can do so, you should do so.
Right. Right. I agree with that as well. And when you are met with having to defend yourself, then like you said, it shouldn't according to the outline of the Declaration of Independence.
Mm-hmm.
That's we should be able, we have those rights, and we should be able to do that with by any means necessary as well.
Sure.
Another point that I read inside the Declaration, which I didn't put on this bullet point here,
Yeah.
but there was also some language talking about if the government does not uphold these different rights, that was outlined, that they can be overthrown, and
Ooh.
I know that's a and you know what? When I read that, I'm gonna tell you what I thought about. I thought about the insurrection that happened when at the Capitol. Yeah, because Republicans felt that they were cheated out. From they were cheated from the whole election. Okay, and when they felt they were cheated out, then me personally, I believe that that it to me. I think the whole thing was pretty much put together for them to go and do that, because they know for a fact that people are going to do stuff when they get emotionally involved. Because people emotionally involved with that whole thing.
Right.
And once they didn't get their way, when the outcome didn't go their way, now to feel like they're going to get justice, let's go ahead and try to overthrow the government. Let's go to the Capitol and storm it and take it over, which I thought was a horrible idea, because I'm saying to myself, man, look
Again.
what?
Again, that's still subjective, right? If you believe that the government some people feel like the government is doing the job fine. And some people are not happy. It's always going to be a sect of people who are not happy with the government, whether it be city, county, state, federal, whatever. I'm not going to interpret as if you don't believe that it's doing its job, that means you get to go in there, because that's subjective.
I agree. I'm with you.
And I don't even want to go party lines, because I'm not going to pretend and think that everybody that was there were registered Republicans, Democrat, liberal. I don't get into that.
Right.
But there were a group of people who saw the need to do what they felt again. But that same thing could happen every election, every president, right? Because there's going to be a sect of people who did not agree with the results. At every presidential election, that same thing could happen.
Right.
There were a large amount of, millions of people, whatever, who voted for one guy, Daryl, and didn't vote for the other side.
Right.
So that means that, because I'm not here to interpret that, and a lot of people interpret that part of the Constitution differently. But there's always going to be a group, you don't, like you said, get the results you want. Look at me, I'm a Cowboys fan. And we don't get the results, I'm emotional. Now whether do all that, that's no. But again, that's subjective to whether you feel like the government is doing what it's supposed to do. Some people at different times think they are, some think they're not.
Yeah, yeah.
The Cowboys going to the Super Bowl.
Hey, listen. If that would have been, listen, if that would have been 8, 9 thousand, black people on that Capitol, they'd have mowed us down. You just saw about,
Absolutely.
you just seen about 7,000 pairs of Michael Jordan grays out there on that lawn, and some Louis Vuitton, huh?
Why you gotta be Jordans, man?
Because we love Jordans, man. Hey, you just see some Michael Jordan tennis shoes and some Louis Vuitton belts out there, just line up on the mow out there on the grass out there, man. It'd been that bad. It mowed us down. We would have had a chance to get inside no Capitol, man. It wouldn't have happened.
But again, that's an interesting point, right? Do you think it would have been viewed the same had the majority of the people been a different race? Because obviously, the majority of those involved were, they were white.
Yeah.
Uh, Not to exclude that there were other races there for sure, but the majority of them were white.
Right.
Had there been, like you said, 99% black, I absolutely believe that it would have been a different outcome. That's just what I believe. That couldn't have happened. I still think this country still, people like to pretend like we're so post-racial. This is a post-racial country, and we're not. We're not there yet.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
Take it or leave it. It's just not. And I believe that it definitely would have been a different outcome. But again,
Oh yeah.
I think whether you believe the government is doing the job or not, that's, again, you don't want to. I mean, who wants to go down that road? Because again, every election we can do the same, right? People not going to be happy. A lot of people weren't happy. Like you said, with the results, we have another election coming up. There's going to be some people who are not going to be happy. Does that mean we get to go and storm the Capitol?
Yes, it does.
You know what I'm saying?
No. Right. No.
Every
Yeah.
election, we might as well get ready for another.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to set that kind of precedence. Is what I'm saying. Sometimes, your candidate doesn't get picked.
Right.
It's just the way it is. So.
Right. I agree with all that. I definitely agree with that. But just looking at the report card, just looking, as far as back, especially you're doing your research, and looking back how the government operates, man, it's just the report card ain't looking too good, man. It's just not,
Whose report? Whose report card?
Looking at the different elections that's going on and stuff that the government has been involved with,
Right.
the report cards just don't look good, especially with a lot of these. If you go back and look at some of these incidents that happened throughout history, the history of this nation, man, it's the whole entire Declaration of Independence, man. It's just not good at all. So this thing is outdated. It needs to be null and void, and they need to do something else with this because this ain't gonna get it.
He said no. You want to?
Huh?
You want to null and void the Declaration of Independence?
Man, we gotta come. Let's do something else. Let's
get rid of the Constitution of the United States. That's what you're saying.
It's fine. Let's do something else. Let's redo it. Let's sit at the table and let's redo it. Because this right here, because now we're not treated as equal, but we're not 3/5 of a man like they say we were. How we looked at all property.
Do you think a piece of paper would change that, though? Do you think a piece of paper would change?
Nope. They still going to continue to. We still gonna continue to be mistreated and looked at a certain kind of way. I agree with that 1,000%. So no, piece of paper is not. Nope.
I say you use the document in play, because again, whether it was created for us or not, I believe that you should know it, right, and use it and make it do what it's going to do. Because a lot of those things that we use now afford us protections and stuff, even though it originally was not created for us, right? So like now, you can't say only a certain like so black people can own firearms, right? I don't. Of course, when that was written, you couldn't, but now it can. Now we can. So I have a right to protect myself. I have a right to a lot of things as well. I just don't believe a document is going to change, you know, the way black people are viewed in the country today. Just you sign a different piece of paper. I
Right.
almost view it as a lot of these protection orders and a piece of paper is just a piece of paper at the end of the day. I mean, it's a
Right.
law of books for sure, but that's not going to change the mindset. It's not going to change the culture just because I mean, it's a piece of paper. At the end of the day, it's a piece of paper.
Right.
Use it, know it, study it, use it to your own benefit is what I say.
Right. Right. I
Educate
agree.
yourself. Again, we talk about education. Just educate yourself.
Right. So what I was going to add, what I was going to say, and that pretty much sums up the main ideas for the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
But when we first started off, we're talking about when I told you about the students and the high school students, and I asked them a certain question about what does it mean, or what does 4th of July represent, or what they think about when they see when they see or know about the 4th of July.
Right.
We have to do better to make sure that we do educate our family members, our loved ones, our kids, because
Sure.
if not, this whole it's going to continue to keep going. It's going to continue to keep moving. And I don't want to seem like I'm a Debbie Downer or someone that's just going to spoil the fun with the whole celebration of the 4th of July. I don't want to come across as being that way, but it's heartbreaking to know that with a lot of these holidays that we do celebrate, we celebrate and we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. We just don't know.
Right. Now, it's a few holidays that have a lot of other meanings, and again, sometimes people just want to celebrate anything. So anytime they can turn up, you know, and again, like you said, I'm not knocking people for celebrating it. Know what it was, know what it is for you, and then you make your own educated decision. Like I said, a lot of times a lot of people don't know.
No.
Again, it's just fireworks, barbecue, whatever. And if that's what you take it as, then that's fine. But I believe in educating. Educate yourself and make your own informed decision. It's a lot of different. Like again, at the time, we were not considered even human. We wasn't free at the time.
Right.
But I will knock and say that some people use it as just another opportunity to come together, break bread, and enjoy family and friends. You don't need a holiday to do that, though.
Right. You don't. Absolutely right.
You
And
need
I
an
honestly,
extra day to do that. You can pick a lot of other days to do that if you want to. So, that's all I'm saying about it.
well, with these holidays, I really feel that it's a way for especially when they make it a federal holiday, especially it's a way to dilute and basically make whatever like let's say Juneteenth.
Right.
Now Juneteenth is because it's a federal holiday now. All right,
Right.
and give it about 5 to 10 years, nobody's gonna know. It's not gonna have the same effect like it did because now it's a federal holiday. It loses its steam when they make it a federal holiday. Basically, almost to the point of where they want you to forget your history, what transpired. That's why they make it or use it and make it a federal holiday so that way you can forget your history. That's how I feel about it. Because Juneteenth, once it had a whole lot of steam behind it, but did they make it a federal holiday? Now it's commercialized. I've seen about a month. When Juneteenth was going on, they were selling ice cream and toilet tissue and plates and yeah. And I'm saying to myself, wow, okay, man, this is what happened.
This is a capitalist nation, man.
Oh man, you're right about that.
Anything to make a dollar, that's okay. So let me ask you this, because you said you think. So would you rather it not have been a federal holiday?
Would I prefer it not to be a federal holiday?
Right.
It don't matter if it's a federal holiday or not to me. To be honest with you. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
They're gonna do what they. Huh?
I mean, again, this is a capitalist nation, and anything they can do to, if they can capitalize on it. Somebody's going to do it. I believe that just like a lot of other holidays where they capitalize, Juneteenth uh, is, it's a black holiday. I mean, you're celebrating freedom, and slaves that were free.
Right.
So if it's going to be monetized anyway, I believe that is an opportunity for black people to be the ones that capitalize off of it. If you
That'd be nice.
that'd be nice.
Right.
Just like any other, certain holidays, they're like, let's say, like Cinco de Mayo or whatever. A lot of that, Hispanic population will capitalize it, monetize it, and so forth, and nobody has a problem with it. I think that if it's going to be capitalized whether we want it to or not. Federal holiday now, people going to, take off and enjoy it and celebrate it. So, again, I always believe that economic freedom is our only hope in this country, and we should be at the forefront of capitalizing on Juneteenth. Whether you believe it should be a federal holiday or not, it's a holiday that was celebrating something that our ancestors went through, and therefore we should be the benefactors of it.
Right. Right. Well, I'm more leaning on the side. I agree with what you said, but I'm more leaning on the side of I just don't want us to forget about what transpired, what happened, our roots, the grassroots that happened
Right.
during the Juneteenth. That we were set free as slaves. That's important to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I understand about the capital part and the money and so on and so forth, whatever. I don't want that to, because that's what they want. They want that to be watered down, diluted, and some people to forget about it because 5 to 10 years down the road somewhere, somebody start talking about Juneteenth. Well, it's another day like they treated it as 4th of July, just to hang out with family, get together with friends, barbecue, and so on and so forth, or whatever. It has that kind of steam to do that.
I don't. Okay, I don't. So, one thing I'm not too like. I believe it meant so much to us. There's no way we're going to forget about it. We hadn't forgot about it in all this time. Now, that's important of every generation to make sure that the story is passed on, right? A lot of the stories that we got from our ancestors were passed on by word of mouth. Now we have social media and different media outlets and mediums to get the message out, whether you write about it, blog about it, or just sit down over dinner and talk to the next generation about it. It's it's our own responsibility to make sure that that it's not lost, right? Because
Right.
I mean, if we don't treasure it and take care of it, I mean, who do you think is going to do it? So you're right. You don't want the meeting to get lost. I don't think. I ain't gonna say I think. I hope it don't. I hope it won't. We just got to do our part to make sure that, like you said, the real meaning behind it lives on because we got it. In 2022, we understand it, and we just got to make sure that message gets passed on, and we keep educating
Right.
each generation about it, so it won't get lost. And we
Right.
can value it and appreciate it what it was. I mean, I felt the way about the holiday because, I mean, man, you got to think about it. They were free before they were told they were free. That was, an ugly point in this nation's history when it comes to black people. But the fact that we're using it as a tool to celebrate and empower ourselves. I mean, go for it. But like you said, I want the true meaning to be still there. So I mean, just like you're doing now, you're talking about it. So you just got to keep doing stuff like that.
Okay. Well, yep. All right. Let me. What we're gonna do right now? We're gonna read some comments. Yeah, some comments on the show. Let's see what's going on. Okay, we got Miss Pam Brown said good content. She says, how could we expect our oppressors to ever treat us fairly in a land that we were never supposed to be? That's a good question. That's a good comment there, Pamisha. And yeah, I definitely see what you're saying on that. I agree. Uh, let's see who else is on here. Melanin model says, "I'm on this. This is nice." Okay, okay, cool. Uh, Facebook. We got Isaiah Landon is watching. Appreciate you for joining. Thank you for the love and support. Love Latrice is watching. Thank you for watching. Appreciate the support. Charles Alexander, what's going on? Thank you for watching. Love the content. Appreciate you for watching, my friend. So we're gonna go to this point of the show. It's a segment called "Giving You the Bag." All right. So these are just quotation marks here. These are just something to make you think about, while we leave this show. So here's the "Giving You the Bag" quotation for the day. It says, "If anyone has an axe to grind with you, then you stay out. Then you stay out the way. They'll just be grinding the axe."
I like
Huh?
it. I like it.
Yeah. Guess who came up with that one?
Who?
I did, my friend. I did. That's from the top of the dome, brother.
You got that from somewhere.
No. You gotta get out the way, man. They'll be grinding the axe. So that's what the "Giving You the Bag" comment is segment for the day. So now that you got the bag, what you gonna do with it? All right. So we're gonna be closing this part of the show out, Brother Frost. You got any closing remarks, my friend?
Oh, everybody, everybody be safe. Take care of yourselves. Love one another. Take care of one another. If nobody told you they love you today, I do. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But, I'm gonna go ahead and close the show with saying, listen, we definitely glad that you came on the show today. We are glad that this is our very first episode, and for the people who showed up, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we'll be on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube, you're on Instagram. I'm missing some at Twitter, Twitch. We doing it. So this is the very first episode, and we appreciate you guys for joining and watching and viewing. If you want to be able to reach out, you can definitely email us at the Burning Coals Podcast at yahoo.com. You can send us some questions there, and also we're going to be doing live interviews in the future as well. We're going to definitely get those live interviews going on, and when we do those live interviews, we're going to definitely be putting information out there on Facebook, on all the social media platforms, to let you know what we got going on and who's going to be the guest on the show. And yeah, we're just going to make this platform we're going to definitely do it with the platform. So
Tell Pam tell Pam to send some info. That was a good question. We have to unpack that at another show, though. But
right, Pam. Yeah, you heard what Mr. Frost said. We said we're going to get that question answered on another episode of the show. We definitely will. I promise we will. But we get a little deep with it. But right now, we kind of running out of time. But again, we appreciate everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, again, if you want to email us at the Burning Coals Podcast at yahoo.com. That's for you got some questions that you need to be answered or asked, or also if you do interviews and things like that, definitely hit us up on the email, and we will definitely respond quickly, surely, and as soon as possible. All right. So God bless you guys, and thank you for joining the show. This is the Burning Coals Podcast. We out.
gone.
All right.